Today, we're going to talk about the most difficult operator to understand, and in a way, it goes against our common sense. Today, we're going to talk about the conditional operator. Let's get started. The conditional is a compound proposition that connects two propositions using the expression if, then. Its symbol is this. This is read as if P, then Q. P is called the antecedent and Q is called the consequent. For example, let's say that P is the simple proposition it rains and Q is the simple proposition the street gets wet. So the conditional would be if it rains, then the street gets wet. Now that we understand what the conditional is, let's fill out its truth table. I've already put all the combinations here, and I've placed two simple propositions here. So, let's go ahead and form the compound proposition. It would be, if you pass the exam, that is, if P, then I'll buy you an ice cream. If you pass the exam, then I'll buy you an ice cream. Pay close attention to how the condition is set. If you pass the exam, then I'll buy you an ice cream. Be careful with that, because we're obviously going to be using this compound proposition to fill out our truth table. All right, let's get started. Watch. It's true that you passed the exam, and it's true that I bought you an ice cream. So, the compound proposition, if you pass the exam, then I'll buy you an ice cream, is being fulfilled. That is, the condition is being met, right? So we're going to say that this proposition is true. That's easy, right? Well, pay close attention, because it's going to get a bit more complicated. Look now. We have another ice cream. If you pass the exam, then I'll buy you an ice cream. In this case, look, proposition P is true. In other words, it's true that you passed the exam. Now, proposition Q is false. That is, it's false that I bought you an ice cream. Let me ask you, is the condition being met? No, the condition is not being met, because I promised you that if you passed the exam, then I would buy you an ice cream, right? And look, here it's false that I bought you the ice cream. Therefore, we're going to say that the condition is false. We're good so far, right? All right, pay attention, because the next one is more complicated. Look, in case number 3, it's false that you passed the exam, and it's true that I bought you the ice cream. So start thinking about what the truth value should be here. Should it be true or should it be false? Because remember, we can only put true or false here. We can't put anything else, right? So, is the condition being met or not being met? Let's analyze it again. We said, if you pass the exam, then I'll buy you an ice cream. Remember, I said what would happen if you passed the exam. I was going to buy you an ice cream, but I never said anything else. What would happen if you didn't pass the exam? Because look, here it was false that you passed the exam. But I insist, I never said what would happen if you didn't pass the exam. Pay attention to that, okay? So I ask you, am I breaking this condition here? Am I breaking the condition? If you pass the exam, then I'll buy you an ice cream. Am I breaking that condition? No. So I can't say that it's false here because the condition is not being broken. Since I can't say that it's false here, then this condition here must be true. Finally, we have that it's false that you passed the exam, and it's false that I bought you the ice cream. Let me ask you, what do we have to put here, true or false? Again, analyze it a little more. Don't forget that the condition was, if you pass the exam, then I'll buy you an ice cream. Again, I said what was going to happen if you passed the exam. So, can you say that I didn't keep my word? No, you can't say that I didn't keep my word, because I said what was going to happen if you passed the exam. And notice that it was false that you passed the exam. Since it was false that you passed the exam, then you can't accuse me of not keeping my word, so I can't put false here. So, this has to be true here. And this one right here is the truth table for the conditional. Well, that's all for today. If you liked this video, please subscribe to this channel and also give me a like. See you next time. Take care and have a good one. Bye-bye.